What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Another Friday, another episode of Why Are We Bullish? Got an awesome panel this week. Excited, happy, belated Thanksgiving. Some of you were watching the show yesterday, the janky ass show. My internet's been on the fritz. I don't know what's going on. Somebody's coming to fix it. Don't worry. Almost happened again at the beginning of the show. We'll see how things go. But hey, such is life. That's why the intro of the show is always my good friend Bill here. So I'll just let him reiterate what I always say.
Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
Now, if you have not already, please do like, subscribe, share. All those things, they help a ton getting this content in front of more eyeballs. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.
All right, before we bring in our guests, let's take a quick look at where we are in the market right now. I'm bringing up timechaincalendar.com. We're sitting at $97,232 per coin. A single US dollar will grab you 1,028 sats. Looks like fees sitting at 10 sats per VByte next block. And in terms of Bitcoin mined, 19.78 million. That is 94.23% of the total supply. We're going to give a quick shout out to sponsors of the show, and then we're going to bring in our guests and we're going to get bullish. So we'll see you guys in just a moment. One of the best places to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with the advent of Bitcoin Well Infinite, high net worth individuals can enjoy an OTC desk with white glove experience tailored to transactions of $50,000 or more. This helps high net worth individuals, family offices, businesses, and trusts secure the best prices and execute large transactions with speed and efficiency. You can expect personalized service, rapid fulfillment, no slippage, custom trade structures, risk management guidance, and global buy and sell capabilities. And hey, if you're not a high net worth individual, not to worry, you can still benefit. If you sign up and you refer people through your personalized link, any fees paid on their first purchases will earn you 21% of those fees. So you can check them out today. There's a link down below to sign up, or you can simply scan the QR code on the screen. Bitcoin Well, check them out today. CoinKite.com has some of the best hardware on the market today to secure your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and is my daily driver. And on top of this, they have plenty of other goodies, including the Mark IV, the Tap Signer, Open Dimes, the Block Clock, and much more. If you head over to their website, make sure you use code BTC Sessions at checkout to get a nice discount. Links are in the show notes down below. All right, we are back in, and of course, if you're looking for some goodies, it's if you're unfamiliar, Bitcoin Black Friday. This is a thing that's been going on for quite some time. So you can go to bitcoinblackfriday.com, and all the goodies are set up there. But Cold Card, CoinKite, I guess in general, all their stuff is 20% off right now. So if you were thinking of a queue, might be the right time. They've got this thing going on till Monday, because Cyber Monday, that whole thing. But anyways, I ordered an absolute crap ton of queues because we've got the SAT market coming up in Calgary in December. And the spoiler alert, I'm going to give away a ton of them. Also, we got the Christmas show coming just around the corner, and there's going to be some giveaways like crazy on that. So if you're looking for an early Christmas gift or a stocking stuffer, there you go. You can grab them. But anyways, I'm going to shut the hell up now. Let's get everybody in here. So I'm going to welcome to the show 2 of 3 guests. The missing third one is an employee of mine, so obviously he's fired. But nonetheless, I want to welcome to the show Jesse Shrader. An open mic. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being more timely than my own employee.
Hey, great to be here.
Awesome.
My pleasure, Ben.
Either you want a job or
We were all just hanging out with Tselly in Atlanta recently. So
Yeah, he said it was awesome down there for TabConf, hey?
yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and then were you guys at HODLHODL as well?
We were.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we were all wiped from like an entire weekend of building and assembling mesh tastics, everything. But it was an awesome conference.
I've got my mesh tastic over here. It's in the pile of things to begin playing with, which I will partake a lot in over somewhat of a break around Christmas, which I'm very excited about. But thank you for tossing that my way when we were in Nashville there for the HRF thing. That was great.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, gentlemen, let's do some intros before we get rolling here. Just so anybody watching that's unfamiliar knows who you guys are, what you do. So Jesse, I'll toss it to you first, and then we'll go to Mike. But Jesse, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Jesse Shrader, CEO and co-founder of Amboss Technologies, and I think we're most known for, really providing intelligent payments for the digital economy. And you can go to amboss.space and basically see your Lightning node and see all the connections that it has. You can also automate liquidity, which makes it possible for you to receive payments without having to worry about managing channels and all of these things. But you can just receive very cheap, fast payments in Bitcoin using the Lightning Network. And so we provide a suite of tools and intelligence tools to make that a much easier process.
Hell yeah. And I've definitely used Magma before. I've used Amboss a bunch. Great tool. So I appreciate what you guys have built there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Well, glad to have you. When were you on the show before, or were you? It's been some time.
It's been quite a bit. I think it's been about a year, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that must have been a little while ago. It's hard. Like I see everybody on here, but it's like after a while, it's like, when was that? And then sometimes I feel like I've had somebody on and I haven't. But yeah. Anyways, well, I'm glad to have you back, man. Very glad you could carve out the time. And I want to toss it down to Mike here to give an intro. Open mic. Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. First off, Open mic. I am the founder and I run Tunster.io. We are live stream on Nostr. It's a fork of Zapstream. And also running the Sats by Southwest conference in a couple weeks, actually, here in Austin. Doing a value for value independent music summit at Bitcoin Commons December 15th, and then partnering with Adam Curry on a show at Antone's nightclub on December 16th. So if anybody's in the area, it's gonna be great. But by day, I run music venues. So I do about 1,300 shows a year. And finally, I felt like for a long time, my passion for Bitcoin and decentralized technology was a solution looking for problems in the music space. And now the last 2 years, especially, I was thrown in with the jack hatchening on Nostr. And I tell you what, that we'll talk about music later, but that really got me off the bench and out of the shadows in the community and got me really building and participating. So
that's awesome. Well, yeah, I love all of the unique things that people are doing with Nostr. It's super cool to see. And hey, I also, something else that's cool is I see my former employee backstage. Maybe I'll bring him here. Hey, I think.
Hey. Let me turn this fan off real quick, guys. I'm sorry. We had emergency with the little one. She was helping in the kitchen and peeled off a piece of her finger. So I had to go pay daddy doctor real quick. So my apologies, everybody. Sounds like I'm looking for a new job. So while I'm here, everybody, if you need I I apparently need work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
I'm sure he's got other skills.
I'm turning this fan off so it doesn't just do this.
Awesome.
I'm in my childhood bedroom, so yeah. Ignore the aesthetics. My mom's remodeling it apparently.
Sweet. Well, we're in. Tselly, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to shill the other things that you do other than helping me out with the channel, and give yourself a little intro for anybody unfamiliar.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll try not to take up the rest of the episode if you're asking what else I do. No, so on top of that, I also founded nohue.com. So we have started out by basically joining a whole bunch of different Bitcoin projects into a bigger company that does a lot of the merchandising, marketing, website design for a lot of the Bitcoin companies. As far as that project, I love that one because it's giving a lot of people who are trying to build a startup within the Bitcoin, and trying to build off of their passions. We're kind of like somewhere to outsource a lot of the additional things they need to do so they can concentrate more on their passion. And a lot of the Bitcoiners that work for us at NoHue and are joining and partnering are doing exactly what they're passionate about. So it's kind of like everybody doing exactly what they love and building on the Bitcoin and kind of rehelping that circular economy. On top of that, also shout out to StackChain Magazine. I'm one of the organizers and writers there. We have a team of about 12 going on, probably a couple more now. It's a Bitcoin only magazine. I mean, it's basically a published print of Bitcoin Twitter. You have a lot of art, you have a lot of memes, a lot of information articles in there. But it's really just fun. We started out just being for fun. And the cool thing is that's how a lot of the Bitcoin projects go. You start off for fun and it turns into something that everybody just loves. And you just got to keep on doing what you love and not let the VC money get in the way. So that's the one thing. StackChain Magazine, we don't have any sponsors. We don't have anybody really telling us what to do. No advertising money. We just keep making something, and we're still afloat, and we've broken even already on our first year. So just by demand. And it's scarce just like Bitcoin. So we only print so many. So once they're gone, they're gone. And then you have to deal with the second market, which is hasn't been nice to some people on the other side. I think the first issue sold a couple months ago for 1.5 million sats. So whoever bought that is kind of looking at hoping that its price and worth goes up with Bitcoin, because I think it was closer to 58K when it was purchased at that one.
1.5 million sats. It's weird doing the math now because it's so close to 100K, and I'm used to that not being the case. So million sats, $1,000 kind of thing. Like it's odd making that. Oh, that's a lot more than it used to be.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy. So that's another project I love working on, and it's just because how it started and how I know the core team behind it really won't skew away from that model. They'd let it die before they do. As we've all found out in the meetings that you guys don't see, we argue all day. It's awesome. I don't know. I'll run through a couple more real quick, but proofofink.com, me and John run that. So all your t-shirts, merchandising and everything. That's me and John both run that together with NoHue. So a good operation going with that. And then I just do a lot of sponsorship opportunities in social media on top of that. I'm sure there's a lot of projects I'm leaving out. You can just check my feed and look at what I'm doing, what I'm up to. But if you guys need any marketing or any sponsorship help, I do that for a number of them. But Ben comes first. So
yes, you're rehired, I guess. Awesome. Well,
we're back in negotiations. So what's the new rate? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, we're gonna get rolling with the show. Everybody that's already here, thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for being in the chat and everything. Make sure you share this wherever you're watching it. Let's get some people in here and get bullish. Also, side note, my internet has been trash. Last night's show with Nico, unfortunately, was a little disjointed, but the stream does keep on rolling if I freeze. So, Tselly, you are our default host.
All right, I'll hold down the fort
for the minutes that I disappear. So, but apparently if I refresh, it just comes right back and it continues streaming regardless. So, okay. So we're going to dive into it. Anybody that's here, that's watching for the first time, unfamiliar, this is Why Are We Bullish? Simple premise to the show. Each of us have come with a reason for being bullish in and around Bitcoin. And the flow of the show is pretty simple. Number one, somebody's going to drop their reason for being bullish. That's their chance to rant on whatever topic they're currently excited about. Number two, altogether, we're going to riff on that reason, comments, questions, whatever rabbit holes we go down. And then finally, number three, after we put a bow on the previous topic, we rotate to the next guest and do it all again. So reason, rotate, reason, riff, rotate. Can you tell I'm not on top of my game today? Holy crap. But nonetheless, we're going to get started. I'm going to get started with my reason for being bullish here. And it centers in and around Bitcoin education and kind of the evolution of what that has become. And actually, before we started the show, we were having a bit of an interesting conversation. And you know, we're talking about Thanksgiving just happened. And Mike, you said something interesting where you were like, you know, I got to the point where I'm no longer the evangelist. Like, I'm not going to do it anymore. And you know, people know that I'm into Bitcoin. If they want to know about it, they can just come to me, and then I'll happily fill them in. But I have not heard that to the extent that I have this cycle ever before. And a lot of Bitcoiners have just said, I'm no longer going to pester people about this. I'm no longer going to be that person in the room where they're like, oh God, he's going to talk about Bitcoin again. I've just like, when people are ready, they're ready, and they're going to come to me because they already know. And I think that's going to be a very positive thing, because people are very averse to free shit for some reason. That your guard goes up. Somebody is like, you see somebody on the street and they're like, here, take this free thing. You're like, what's the catch? Get away from me. I don't want it. And I think, you know, Bitcoin has no marketing team, but in a way we are all Bitcoin's marketing team. And we very much learned that our marketing tactics were shit. And so like forcing information on people that they haven't asked for is a hard sell. And you kind of had to do that in the early days because nobody knew about it. Literally nobody. And now it's not at that point. Now it's very much like people see it all the time. It's kind of eking into people's daily lives. There's never been more examples of why you need Bitcoin than today in various different ways, like depending on who you are and where you are in the world, that answer could be very different. But education has changed. It's no longer like somebody forcing education upon you. It's people seeing this thing, having multiple touch points, and then going, I need to find information. And before, finding Bitcoin information was difficult. There wasn't a lot of content. Like I'm talking, like when I started, there was nothing like in terms of the whole impetus for the channel was step-by-step education in video form because there was none. But even like just learning the why of Bitcoin was pretty hard back then. You'd be hard pressed to find a podcast or two that happened every week or month. Now it's like you couldn't even possibly consume the hundreds of hours of content that gets released every day. And on top of that, you've got these entities that are now starting to finally curate educational content. And so I wanted to kind of just point out just a handful of things. I tweeted out earlier today and I put it on Nostr as well. And I said, you know, who has examples of whether it be like individuals or groups or whatever that are kind of curating educational content for Bitcoiners. And so again, just like a handful of things, like you've got Plan B Network, and they've got like actual, you know, full on courses and outlines. And it's like pretty in depth, like beginners, like 101, 102s, like all these different courses that you can go through, and they work with a ton of different educators, and there's a ton of great people involved with the network. And I again, huge initiative. One of the ones that I encountered when I was in at Surfing Bitcoin a couple years ago, Découvre Bitcoin, or Discovering Bitcoin. The French initiative, and Roxy is like, again, doing the same kind of work that I'm doing, focused in France, now focused more so worldwide. But again, he put together just an incredible set of educational pieces for people in French, and now is also working with the Plan B network to curate and you know, issue certificates and link well-educated people with Bitcoin companies that are trying to find people that are knowledgeable. So that's super awesome. Beyond them, again, obviously me, Premier Bitcoin, My First Bitcoin, they're doing, and actually, there's me at a graduation. But yeah, like they're educating the school kids in El Salvador, but also they have, it's open source. The whole program is open source and you can fork it, but then they have like dedicated nodes that can also be officially My First Bitcoin nodes around the globe. You know, of course, I want to give a shout out to these guys, Bitcoin Way. These guys are awesome. Again, they have very much, they've really like nailed down their preferred method of like being hardcore Bitcoin, you know, don't trust, verify, you know, obtain your Bitcoin in a private way, run your own node, you know, secure your coins, all that kind of stuff. And like they're really, really good at what they do. All these guys are super professional. I've met them multiple times. The footage that you're seeing there is from BTC Prague, and they had a booth there. They've had it in the past, I think, a few years. Tony's great. They're all great. So love these guys and what they're doing. They do like 101s, and they have like a full program that you can go through, which is awesome. Just came across Satoshi Consult. Again, they walk you through various different things to get you set up 101s. Armin the Parman has like crazy awesome resources that walk you through pretty much anything. He even built his own node setup that you can run yourself, and you can also book them for 101s. Desi Bitcoin, these guys are awesome. Again, aggregating a ton of great information. Base 58, kind of focused on like developers and everything. Awesome resource. The Bitcoin Dev Project. This is friend of mine, Art, who's helping me with the SAT market here in Calgary. He's also involved in this initiative, which is great. And then, of course, like myself and the guys that are working over at Bitcoin Mentor. And this just came from a scratching my own itch perspective, where I got so bogged down last December with booking 101s with people that I literally couldn't manage it. And so we had to, you know, I met my co-founder, Mike, here in my city, and we put together this incredible team. And now Nathan, who's going to be on the channel starting in the new year and doing new content on the channel as well. He's a huge part of this, and we're getting busy, guys. Like, we are getting busy. There's people, again, like booking, and like very interesting people that are coming through. Like, we can't obviously say like who books us and for what and everything, but like there's been some pretty cool people that have come through and booked sessions and have interesting stories about how they got into Bitcoin and everything. And it's been an absolute pleasure just kind of building this with everybody over at Bitcoin Mentor. But it's really cool to see that there's a demand for Bitcoin education. And so the reason I'm bullish is the people that come in for this bull run in this cycle are better poised to understand Bitcoin at a faster pace than anyone before them that has come. And each epoch of Bitcoin allows the newcomers to stand on the shoulders of those from the epoch before and elevate them to new levels at a faster pace. And I always say this, you know, when I do one-on-ones with people, the level of knowledge that people will exude a year into being in Bitcoin. I'm like, oh my God, 4 years in, I wasn't at that place. And it's because the wealth of knowledge and the curation that has happened over the years that allows that to happen. And so, you know, I'm waiting for myself to just be totally obsolete because somebody better comes along. And at some point that very well may happen. And when it does, you know, I'll try and keep up, but in a way it'll be also an exciting moment because it's just like, cool. Like I was able to be a part of it and build some stuff and help people get to a new level. But like it's that moment of the student becomes the teacher. And so I get excited when I see people come in, learn something from me, move on, and then all of a sudden they're like building apps, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. That's the coolest thing. So, yeah, that's why I'm bullish. I think that this cycle is going to introduce a whole new class of Bitcoiners with a whole new level of skills at a pace that we have not seen prior. And it'll continue to accelerate. So I'll leave that open to you guys. Whoever wants to dive in, thoughts, comments, questions, whatever we want to do here. So open floor.
I got you. You got me thinking quite a bit. And one of my favorite things that Francis Pulio has talked about in the past, who's founder of Bull Bitcoin. He's talked about the idea of the remnant. Is that if you put your message out there and you don't dilute it, the right people will come to you that are ready to hear that message. And there's religious tones, like undertones, like to that story. It's a religious story. But overall, I find it to be true. And I see the content that you've put out there, Ben. And I deeply, deeply appreciate it to help like hold people's hands to go from, zero to hero in the Bitcoin space. And, for me, it took me 6 months before I really understood Bitcoin. I was still trying to just like tear it apart and be like, there's no way that it could work like this. And I was just like trying to disprove it because, the price was going down and I was, panicking a bit. I was like, do I sell this thing? And I was trying to do research to find out like where it's broken, like why is the price going down? But then everything that I found was just reinforcing of why you should hold this token that gives you access to the future. And like but putting content out there, it really becomes a magnet. Like some of the videos that you put out, have drawn additional people into Plebna to start running Lightning nodes, and that directly impacts me and my business. But also, when I was just getting into Lightning, I was writing a blog, almost like an open diary. It's like who do I talk to about this? Because nobody else is playing around with this, and it was mostly because I was just so excited about the technology, about like what it means for us and for the future. And that blog post ended up being a magnet to help me find my co-founder to start Amboss. And so that's how I got connected with Tony, who created Thunder Hub. And now we've got this business that's put together. Now we've got 10 full-time employees. So it's like it's just grown and grown. And so now I can shift over to being a tool builder, so I can give all the folks on the content side tons of things to talk about.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. And again, it's funny how those things complement each other, because you're like, oh, your video that you made drove people to doing my stuff. Meanwhile, you're building things that give me content to create. So it's like very circular. Like it's everybody, there's praise to be given in every part of the ecosystem, because as soon as you pull out one of the building blocks, like the whole thing crumbles. So it's like we're all in a way relying on each other to continue building the space out. So
local circular economies is kind of
yes.
That's kind of the whole thing that we're trying to build around Bitcoin, right? It's only a tool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. So, like, Sally, how do you feel about the people that are coming in now versus kind of what you've seen in the past? Like, how do you feel it's changed in the way that people learn and what's available to them?
Well, I think it was cool, at the beginning, all the different ones that you were showing. It kind of like, I know I concentrate a lot on our show, but it's there's a lot that's out there. The cool thing is it's a lot of is out there because of how many people are coming in, right? And the last cycle, I think last cycle grabbed a lot of libertarians. I think that was especially how that election went. I think, they opted out and they were just like, all right. And I think we got a lot of libertarians on that one. This one, it's everybody. So you can see it, you can see it in who's running and what they're running on. You have presidents, president of the free world showing up at Bitcoin conferences, presidents from other, countries, people running on Bitcoin. You didn't really see that last cycle. And so, I think your question was like the type of people coming in. It's everyone now. It's everyone who's waking up, and everybody who's been thinking something's been wrong for a while. And I think, at this point, it's we're coming out of the then they fight you phase. And I think that being said is, you know, a lot of people are now asking questions they wouldn't have asked before. You have people who were scared to even side on one side of a political side or this side who've completely flip flop. And I think it's because of the education. The amount of content and everything we do. It's not, oh, this is how you use Bitcoin. It's going to go up. It's why is Bitcoin is important. It's why we're in this situation at all. And I think that all the content that we've been doing is really helping not just show people that like Bitcoin is a tool, but like why it needs to be a tool. It's kind of like after your country just got just fought a war against a dictator and got out of it. We're going to teach all these people what we've learned from that experience, right? I think that's what we're doing. So the difference is everybody's coming out here. And it's not just the people who were getting told they were wrong and being basically shouted out for anything they said against the media. Now people aren't even listening to the media. We're the new media now.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like there's a scale, and on one side you have then they fight you, and on the other side you have then they join you. And it's the scales are tipping so that eventually so many people join us, there's nobody left to fight us. That's kind of where
Right.
we're at. Like that's
Yeah,
where
it's
we're headed anyways.
yeah, it's been a crazy year, I'll tell you that. Coming out of the bear market into a bull market where we were always saying, it's going to be one of these cycles. If it's not this one, it's the next because everyone's waking up now. I'm excited.
Yeah. Cool.
Keep stacking, guys. Please
Yeah.
don't sell.
Mike, I'm curious to get your thoughts in and around this, like the state of education, the state of kind of people realizing what's in front of them and how quickly they can level up and the materials available to them. Like, what are you feeling here?
Yeah, lots of great points, and I was trying to keep track of all the things you were touching on that I wanted to jump in on. But you think about, I think we've all been here for at least 3 cycles. So you think about you made the comment that there's just so much content. You could consume content ad nauseum and just teach yourself whatever you want to learn. And I feel like when I first came in, and the ICO craze, um, the same sentiment was there, but there was no focus. It was just paid crap on YouTube and marketing shills, and there was no real way to distill you know, who the good actors are, who the salespeople are, what are all these different projects and chains and coins and da 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 da. And I feel like this cycle is the content that you're referring to is the content that we're interested in, and there's an abundance of that focused, high signal, you know, authentic material where somebody can just come in and really go from 0 to 100 quickly, because we all know, like, you know, once that switch goes, like, you get the mind virus, and you know, maybe you're still able to do your day job, maybe not, right? But like, you know, you're gonna be locked into BTC sessions all day if you want to figure out how to do Bitcoin privately, and you know, have best practices with self custody, all this stuff. And in the early days when I was coming on, you had to really like stub your toe a few times, and you know, go through some crappy paid subscriptions to get bad information about a S coin on some startup, you know. And I feel like the amount of, I don't know, and it could just be a function too of like, you stick around for a cycle, your life and your personal economics get better, and then you can dive into this community and start giving back, right? And so people who've been around since 2015, maybe they have been able to quit their day jobs and really go in full time and put out this high signal. But I'm really loving the amount of education that's at people's fingertips, because even like some of these guys out there, like I couldn't believe listening to Walker the other day. He just dropped, like, when he came into Bitcoin. I was like, what? I thought you've been here since like 2013. You know, the amount of time that you can really like step on the gas. And like, look, Sailor was August of 2020, and granted, he's got incredible means and can devote all of his time to it, but he still had to get all of that education from somewhere.
Yeah. And he still had to sit through a bear market just like everybody else, right? Like,
and like, if our crazy, like, psychotic memes weren't out there just saying Bitcoin's on sale, buy the dip, he could have bounced, you know.
Yeah. And some people did, right? Like some,
Yeah.
they're FOMO and people like freaking out and selling the dip and selling in the depths of the bear market did not escape even people that are in charge of treasuries, right? Like people still are human. Humans control those things. And so there were some that absolutely said, oh, no, we're out. And that's going to continue to happen. But as it happens again and again, it's easier and easier to point back and say, like, this has all happened before. Time is a flat circle. we're right back where we started. Like, it's fine. But yeah, the materials are there, and we get to level up, not from the start, but from where the last class left off, which is awesome. So I'm going to put a bow on this topic here because I want to get to what you guys have to say. So we're going to be doing a rotation here. Before we do, we're going to do a quick shout out to a show sponsor. So we'll be back in about 30 seconds. And actually, when we get back, we're going to give away some sats before we dive into the next topic. Jesse, prep yourself because I'm going to come to you next. But we're going to do a quick shout out. And then those of you that have your Lightning wallets ready, get ready to give a scan because you're going to be able to snag some free sats in just a sec. All right, we'll see you in just a sec. Speed is one of the fastest growing Bitcoin Lightning wallets out there. It is a fast and secure way to send and receive Bitcoin and stablecoin payments instantly. You can even swap between Bitcoin and stablecoins directly in the app. Also in the app, you can buy gift cards for all the best brands and earn rewards in the process. To download Speed, simply scan the QR code on the screen, click the links in the show notes down below, and use code btcsessions10 to get 5,000 sats for free. All right, we're back up. We are going to quickly give somebody a chance to snag some sats here. So I've got the Bitcoin Well dashboard up here. Again, off the top of the show, they got a little intro, but of course, you can use Bitcoin Well to buy and sell Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And the way it works is when you do sign up, you earn points. When you buy Bitcoin, you earn points. When you refer friends, you earn points. And those points can be used to toss a coin in the Bitcoin wishing well. And when you do, you earn the chance to win anywhere between 500 to 1 million sats. This is an LN URL. So whoever scans it first gets the sats. So I'm going to toss in a coin now. Let's see who. 500 sats. Okay. So whoever scans that first will get to redeem those. Congrats to whoever grabs them. If you do snipe those sats, let us know in the chat or the comments, wherever you are watching this. And congrats to the person that managed to grab them. But with that, I'm going to rotate. Jesse, you are up next, and I'm going to queue you up with the same question everybody gets. Why are you bullish?
Thanks so much, Ben. And the reason why I'm bullish is because, like, as we've kind of watched AI make its way into more and more of our lives, it's become a more useful tool and essential, to us, to sourcing information, making decisions, doing digital work. The more that it's become clear to me that Bitcoin is the currency of that machine economy, of that future. And there's several reasons for that. We've been kind of going through the different aspects of it, and like as we look at different currencies, different technical approaches to make this happen, to reach the scale that an AI economy and a machine economy would require, you need transactions that scale to the level of HTTP requests. So really, this is massive, massive scale. And of the technologies that we've seen, other blockchain approaches, we know, because we've done the research on Bitcoin, that any of those other chains are far weaker than Bitcoin is. And in addition, even if the blockchain is completely centralized, that it cannot reach the scale needed to even do one payment per TikTok video. We saw Solana, for example, it hit 5 cents per transaction, and that is indicative of a scalability problem, even when you make all the design decisions to be extremely centralized. And so that has been a really reinforcing aspect of why we focused on Lightning Network, because it doesn't have that scalability problem. And like as the whole economy realizes that like Bitcoin becomes the payment rails of this machine economy and this AI economy future, that Bitcoiners stand to benefit in a massive way. If they, take some of your learnings of how to run a Lightning node to actually be part of that payment system. And that's a really exciting future. There's additional reasons just on the decentralization piece of it, that there's going to be many winners, and it's not just going to be a few, if we can help realize that decentralized Bitcoin future where it is the currency. And the second is really on the security. You need final settlement, and that's what we've been focused on so much on Lightning. It's like you actually are able to like withdraw. It still is Bitcoin. You don't have to play with some other token, and it works so fast globally. So you're reaching people all over the world, running whatever program you have, and it's getting you that scalability with near zero fees, that you can actually perform and interact with the rest of the world with cheap, fast settlement that really does scale to the level of HTTP requests. And just like as an example of just one touch of how Lightning has improved things is one of my favorite companies in the space, Synoda, and what they've been focusing on is improving payment processing for energy companies. And because Bitcoin miners, for example, they have to set aside $1 million bond just because they're deemed high risk to the energy companies. And like we know Bitcoin miners, that's not like just they don't have like $1 million lying around. It's a very cash intensive business, very capital intensive. They have to buy miners, and there's no reason why they should, be having to set aside a bond to the energy companies. And what Synoda saw that and realized, well, you just need faster settlement, and then you don't have this huge risk of a crypto company that is a risky person to provide power to. But by increasing the frequency of settlement and having micropayments essentially be actually the payment for energy, we've really improved the efficiency of the entire economy at that base level of energy. And then, of course, that's going to trickle down to the data companies and the server farms that will power the AI economy, as well as payments at the level of each individual query. So we've really got an exciting future ahead by embracing the technology that we've all become familiar with and we've all become educated on, which is Bitcoin.
That's really cool. I'm still parsing kind of where AI is fitting for myself in how I operate day to day. But to have the freedom of tasking it with something in relation to like cash flows with the business and having payments come in and where I want them to go and to be able to automate all of that would be fantastic. But yeah, I use AI for a handful of things. It kind of depends. I find it very useful for a lot of stuff. It does, just in terms of efficiency of me, like being able to create skeletons of ideas and then kind of fine tune things. It's interesting. Again, the some people, the dismissiveness of some people in and around it. I think they just haven't used it yet. And also there's an interesting dynamic in and around like, oh, we gotta regulate this so it doesn't take everybody's jobs. And I was like, well, I mean, are we gonna ban tractors because the people that used to manually plow fields are out of jobs? Like, no, it makes humanity more efficient, and there'll be other jobs in other places, but it's going to be a huge adjustment. And but nonetheless, I fully see how Bitcoin and this leap forward in human efficiency are going to pair. And I think in a world with AI too, you need to be paid in a money whose purchasing power can't be diluted. And thus the purchasing power of your savings kind of moves in lockstep with human ingenuity, right? Like if you've got a set amount of goods and services and a set amount of money, and the amount of goods and services explodes because we're so efficient with tools like AI, and the money remains constrained, it just means that if you've provided value to others and spent less than you earned, you reap the benefits of that. And that, it makes everybody wealthier. Or if you have an hourly paid wage or something like that, what you can purchase with your paycheck actually goes up over time, not down. And you're no longer in a position of having to argue and negotiate just to maintain your standard of living. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I hope we see more of it. So, but I'll open up to Mike and Tselly if they want to chime in and comment.
Well, I think You got a little sidetracked there, maybe. I put on the AI. Are we talking about AI or no? And but like the payment and going through as and being used for energy. I mean that was pretty big because the whole tying it to energy is really big in terms of Bitcoin. I mean, it's something that Henry Ford even said back in the day, like, this is going to be screwed until we tie it to energy. And now we're solving everything so that you can even pay, your energy and and have it go immediately. Um, we're doing it right and we're doing what should have been done a long time ago. So, and then as far as the AI, I think I'm like embracing it because there's a lot that they can accomplish that regular humans can't. It's just I wish we all got the paycheck for training it over these years. I'm okay with them taking our jobs, but as long as they paid me for literally training them to do theirs, that's
Fair. Hey, maybe that'll be baked in. Maybe that'll be a thing that gets baked in. If you opt into them retaining data, you'll just get paid in Bitcoin, and
well.
it'll all just kind of.
What's going to happen is there's going to be different models. Well, there's already different models, but you got to think about who's training it, right? So as everybody's opting out of all these privacy trackers and everything, who's going to be left training these models? They're going to have to start, getting away from the mind hive to start learning outside of that. So I hope someday they're going to be like, okay, we need to get, how much are we paying people on Nostr to train the Nostr AI, and like we have Grok, people are paying to train that one. So we gotta take things back a little bit because but I think it's gonna get to the point where like if AI keeps going and we're all opting out, like these AI programs are going to turn into idiocracy on their own flat. So we'll see how these models progress over the next decade. It's going parabolic, so it's going to be entertaining. It is already entertaining, but I've embraced it in some aspects where when it does better than me, yeah. And then the cool thing is like I've embraced it because like it starts to learn from what you put in. Like you can start training it and like it gets better at answering the questions that you want, and it kind of like you know once you start to understand that and it understands you, I can see that going a long way. It's scary though.
Mike, you can chime in too.
Yeah. AI. It's funny in the, I'm old school music. We're the venue scene and the touring and the booking scene is really, pretty well set in their ways. So AI is not a big thing. Actually, if anything, it's met with a lot of resistance. And in like the recorded space, the amount of AI music hitting Spotify, I saw some statistic of like the amount of content that we'd have to look it up, like how long it took Spotify to get to X million songs, and then it took like 9 months to get to double it. Like once AI started pumping out content. So the AI side is it's interesting. It's a tough subject in the music space right now because technology hasn't typically improved the lives of musicians. you know um but what you're talking about with Lightning really got me going because my role in the company is I'm the CFO. I manage all the finances. I oversee all of the operations from the expense side, and the Lightning Network is something that I've been just so excited about for so long, and right down to the fact that when we put on a 3,000 person show, you've got about 90 minutes to do about 80% of your business, right? You're just cranking out beers, cranking out t-shirts, cranking out whatever you can. You can't have a line, you can't have people asking questions at the front. And so I've been watching Lightning very closely and hearing, what you've said about, the settlement being final settlement. a lot of that stuff is really important from my perspective as the CFO, because the realities of chargebacks and disputed transactions and, you know, bots buying tickets, you know, they're going to go out, buy as many tickets as they can until they get caught, and then try to avoid the transactions if they can't sell them. And, you know, we focus a lot on the intermediaries and the fees and the transaction, everybody taking their little chunk of rent along the way of a transaction. But there's so many crazy effects that the Lightning Network is going to have on just commerce that we won't even recognize. And that got me very excited to hear some of your commentary about the Lightning Network and the work going on there. And we've seen it, but you know, still, we can't expect people to sit there and manage their liquidity channels and you know, put 20 million sats into escrow, you know, on their hot wallet and, you know, just not screw it up.
Yeah, it's been just really interesting just to see like all the struggles that people have had, you know, to manage the payment system, to like manage their Lightning node. And it's just got me thinking more and more, like managing a Lightning node is not for humans. Like why would it be? Like there's not, you don't have a person standing there to run your Visa terminal at every store. I think just part of the efficiency of the economy is to be able to have those micropayments and have the operations be completely automated. And that's like kind of the North Star of why we're working on Amboss and why we're working on Lightning, just to bring this future reality, yeah, to the present.
And
Love it.
I was just gonna, and I was just gonna say, I think it's awesome because, like, if you're thinking about, you know, the development that's been happening on Lightning, and you know what you're doing and where we're going from there, I just wanted to, you know, think if you guys remember, think back when we didn't have Lightning, and we were trying to sell everybody on 10-minute blocks, and that, you know, they're like, it's too slow, and I'm like, you know, you have to compare it, like Bitcoin is the ACH, right? The 3 to 5 day. It's instead of 3 to 5 days, it's in 10 minutes, unless you know, fees go up through the window like it did last November or something. Whenever we were about to go abroad. um basically. And but like now, you know, what we have is, you know, we have Lightning, which is basically the Visa network comparative, right? And what we're doing on it and what you've been able to do and what you're adding in everybody is what has been able to happen since Lightning started, like, and where we're at now. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's leaps and bounds. I remember messing around with my first Lightning wallet. Like I was the first one that you could get on mobile. I can't remember what it was called, but I had no idea what I was doing. And then it was like, make a channel, and I was like, what the hell's that? And then yeah, I think it was on Eclair. And then I like made a channel with the specific store that I was going to pay, and then I paid it, and I was like, wait, I have to do a regular transaction first to make a channel with this one store. And I like, my brain was not wrapping around how this would play out over time. I'm like, this is stupid. I don't understand how this could possibly work. And then it's over time, as the network got built out. And like, I will say that the ease of doing things now, even though, you know, self-hosting and all that is still a very technical thing. Like if you're running your own, you know, dedicated node and it's not some automated mobile client or whatever, it can still, you know, there's still some intricacies to it. But like the streamlining of even that has changed significantly. And the fact that I've got a, you know, a start 9 on my shelf behind me, and I can scan a QR code and link my mobile wallet and be using it seamlessly. And I open it up and it actually opens up quickly and shows me my balance. And I can send a transaction when I'm in Switzerland, and it comes from my Canadian node through my software to the other guy's Zeus wallet that is linked to his Lightning node that's in Austria. And I buy like a 3D printed thing from him. And we're both like, that's pretty cool. Like, and it wasn't too difficult to set up. The fact that me as an individual could do that,
Huge.
I think speaks volumes of where this thing will head over time. And yeah, it's very exciting. And again, as you said, Jesse, like all the stuff that I just described there, will not even be a thought in a person's head when we can automate it with things like AI to the point where it's like it's no longer like you don't have to think about it. Like it's just it's taken care of. I think that's very exciting.
I'm totally on board with AI setting up my nodes because listening to you talk about setting up your first channel kind of put me back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was throwing stuff. I was like, why are my transactions not going through? What the heck am I doing wrong? I have to set up a channel. It has to have money in it. Same deal. I was like, all right, so to take my money then, and then it's not working for another week, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try a different app, and then
Yeah.
Finally run into some BTC session stuff down the road after, throwing everything.
Jesse, did I tell you the nightmare that was my first node and why it was a nightmare?
No.
No. Okay. So you'll enjoy this just because this is your realm. But so I put up my first Lightning node tutorial and I'm like, okay, cool. I've got, I'll make some channels and everything. And then in the tutorial, I was like, oh, I'll get lots of channels, everybody you can connect to my node. And so I end up with like 200 and something channels. And I'm like, oh, great. I've got so many channels to go. I can I used it quite a bit and I had a decent amount on there. And like, I could, and then I get to the point, I've got all these channels and I've got a bunch of liquidity on my side of a bunch of the channels. And I'm trying to make small payments and nothing is going through. And I'm like, what in the hell is going, how could this possibly be happening? Look how many channels I have. And then I'm like, okay, I got to get in there and see what's going on. I start looking at the channels. What do you think happens when somebody is setting up their first Lightning node and they're watching probably the only video that happens to be out there on it? And they're like, okay, I'm going to open a channel. Keyword, a channel. They open a Lightning channel to me as their outbound liquidity and use me anytime I open a channel to any other large node, instantly drain it. So I have all of these channels with liquidity on my side that are connected to nodes with no other channels. And so like, unless I want to pay that specific person, it's just dead end money on the side of a dead channel. And so I'm like, I had to gut the node. I had to close. I was like, that's it. I'm closing I closed every single channel, started from scratch, got like a big ass, like I paid for like a huge channel. I got a couple and now I'm like, oh, now it works.
Oh my gosh.
You got the BTC sessions hug of death.
Oh God.
Thanks. Thank you for your participation in the network, sir. That's like one of those things that's like, like after after the pregnancy, like I've erased a lot of the stuff that sucked. Right. And then when I had to deal with a pregnant person, I guess we say. But then you kind of erase it until like there's another kid that comes along. Like that stuff, like that's the stuff I erased because I was through that too. I was like, I just don't understand. And it's just like, no, everybody's just using your liquidity. It's all gone. Your liquidity is gone. But you're helping all the other people who still don't know how to set it up on their end. At least their payments are going through.
Yeah, it was wild. When I didn't understand what was going on, I'm like, okay, I need outbound liquidity. I'll just like put I'll put some more Bitcoin. I'll open a huge channel to like a good node. And I opened the channel and I checked like an hour later and it was gone. It was all drained. I was like, what? Yeah. Anyways, this is the pain of trying stuff when you don't fully understand it. And so like I'll I'll take one for the team from
Yeah,
time.
and look at you now. It looks
Yeah.
like you figured it out.
Yeah, well, very gradually, but
Solution is setting fees high.
Yeah.
Please do
Yeah.
that. Don't think it's a gift to the network. Set your fees, and you'll get paid for it.
yeah, fair enough. Well, either way, okay. Well, gentlemen, I think I think we'll put a bow on this topic. I want to make sure that I get to Mike's and Tselly's reasons. So we're going to do another rotation here. We're going to give another quick 20-second shout out to one of our sponsors, and we will be back in just a moment. So we'll see you guys in a sec. DEBIFI.com allows you to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Collateral is held in a 3 of 4 distributed multisig with trusted parties. It provides institutional liquidity providers, loan periods of up to 5 years with flexible conditions and the best rates. And best of all, no rehypothecation of your funds. If you want to check them out today, head over to DEBIFI.com or hit the link in the show notes down below. All right. And before we do our rotation, I do want to just give one more shout out to my team over at Bitcoin Mentor. Again, if you guys are, if you feel like you've hit the Bitcoin Luddite stage of your journey and you've learned a few things, but you haven't leveled up in a while and you need some help, then of course, head over to bitcoinmentor.io. We've got an awesome team of educators there. But beyond that, you're going to get a lot of questions this cycle from friends and family members. And if you don't have the time and or patience to deal with that, then feel free to become an affiliate of Bitcoin Mentor. And the way it works, you can just scan that QR code on the screen. You'll set up your own personal link. And then every time that you refer somebody our way and they book a session, you'll get 21 bucks paid out in Bitcoin at the end of the month. And that's for every session they book, not just the first one, but for everyone in perpetuity moving forward. So get yourself a link, join the Bitcoin Mentor army, and help yourself stack sats while new Bitcoiners stack their skills. So, but I'll put that QR code up at the end of the screen, end of the show again. But either way, gents, we're going to do a rotation. Mike, I'm looking at you, and I'm going to cue you up with the same question everybody gets. Why are you bullish?
Yeah, thanks. Well, my background, live music, independent music. I guess a little bit of background about Tunster and what I do, leading into why I'm so excited to be here and talking about bullishness. Where I work, we're at the epicenter of independent music. Like, we're about as big as you can get without being corporate. So we do, our largest shows are about 10,000 people outdoors, all the way down to 250, and some of the famous I mean, I don't do self-promotion. I hate I don't like this stuff, but like it's the the home base is where Prince got his start. Home base is where Purple Rain, the movie, was filmed. It's a bit of a rite of passage for artists to come through our space. And being a CPA, being the head of finance at the organization, Bitcoin resonated very clearly. It didn't take me long. The financial crisis, you read, I remember the bail-ins of Cyprus, it's kind of like a big, WTF moment for me, of like, oh, I forgot they had that in their playbook, right? Like, and I've lived overseas a bunch of time. Like, I kind of know that you ask the questions of like, why are we so special? Like, why is this not going to happen here? And so Bitcoin stuck with me, and it doesn't take too much of a stretch for somebody who's into specifically independent music to see a lot of the same problems mirrored. You say, okay, you've got rent seekers, you got gatekeepers, you got strong centralization, people at the bottom don't have a chance, you got to pay to play, and it really has been, up until a couple years ago, like we were talking about the evangelism phase. The Bitcoin thesis really seemed like a bit of a stretch when I was in my evangelism phase. It's like, you guys should really take sovereignty over your career, and it's like, yo, I just want to get paid and make art. Like, how about that? And that's a very reasonable position for an artist to take. And so I was the legitimately annoying Bitcoiner who was, in good intentions, concerned about what I saw and thought this would be a logical place for people to spend some time. And they just, a handful of people did, but it never had anything to the level of attraction of like, you don't have to, nobody wants to sit there and talk about monetary policy with you. Shocker, I know. Yeah. You want to kill a concert quickly, just go ahead and do that. But the bullishness, we touched a little bit about it, is in the past, I feel Bitcoin culture is here. Now it's here, and we have some of the things that we're seeing in the mainstream, some of the even love them, hate them, whatever. Larry Fink's running around shilling our coin, and like that provides a little bit of legitimacy, and that provides somebody not wearing orange glasses screaming at the guy on CNBC. It looks normal when Larry Fink's doing it, and I think that really helps. Get the attention of creators and artists, and that provides a nice little baseline so that we can say, okay, well, now this bull market, I feel pretty comfortable with with the tools that I have in the toolbox now. I've got a ton of educators like yourself, we talked about in the first segment. We have a lot of people who are now developing on Nostr, and I tell you what, that is my baseline for Tunster. Is I'm a Bitcoiner, but Derek always says the purple pill makes the orange pill go down better, and I mean, I'm almost to the point where I say they don't even need to know that there's an orange pill involved, because if I can do so a typical Tunster show, which full disclosure, I don't do this. This is not a company to make money. This is not I don't take any splits of any of the. Oh yeah, there's the. This is our upcoming shows in Austin. We're doing. Props to Bitcoin cartoons for that awesome graphic. I love that.
That's pretty sweet. I like it.
Yeah, and the stars in the background are a nod to First Avenue in Minneapolis, where all the building has all the stars on the outside, and you get the name on it. But what was I saying? Tunster. We are there trying to Trojan horse artists into taking educational measures, and taking this independent music summit. This is just going to be a free half-day conference. I'm charging $5, but anybody who DMs me gets a free ticket. If you're an artist, but I'm not a great salesman, but but the live stream business in music is kind of a joke. Like it's not a good. If I walked in and said I want to do this revolutionary live stream, I'd last about 10 seconds. You're out the door, right? But it is something that everybody's familiar with, and it doesn't cause any. It doesn't cost anything. There's no risk, and so about a year ago, I started out with actually the two on the far right of that poster, Just Loud and Ainsley Costello. I booked them last December in Minneapolis. Yeah, it was actually Ainsley's first ticketed concert. It was pretty cool. And they played the Minneapolis Bitcoin meetup one night, and then they played one of my venues the next night, and they raised 18 million sats in 2 days. And I joke around with him now, like especially Just Loud. He doesn't, I gave him a Blockstream Jade and like showed him all the deal, and we wiped it off, into cold storage. But he was at TabCon. He was one of the panelists at TabCon. If you guys caught him down there.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. He is a funny man.
Yeah. I joke around that like nobody's got more diamond hands than him because he doesn't know how to use it. But he appreciates it and he embraces it, and he identifies the value and he loves the culture. And now his sats from last year, I was joking with him like, yeah, dude, you just basically played a second concert for free because your 42,000 Bitcoin is now worth 97. And so the idea with Toonster is really, I want to come with the results. Like we come with the sales pitch in previous cycles. We come with like, you need to be more sovereign. You need to be da 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 da. And like people are just like, I need to be a musician. Get out of my face. And and if I can just say, hey guys, I'm gonna just flip on the switch on this stream. We're gonna spin up an NSEC really quick. Get you a wallet, and if anything comes through from the online community, all the money that's tipped to you is yours. 100% of it's yours. And generally, say, okay, whatever, I don't care. But then at the end of the night, if you say, hey, you made $40, do you want it? Well, then you've got a free BTC session there, right? You gotta you can take them through some of the onboarding steps when you actually have the results on the screen, and it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to disarm all of that skepticism because it's pretty bad. The music community, they are not. They should be primed for this stuff. The ethos are very consistent, but it is a big hill to climb. I even not name dropping, but it's just a fact. I came back from the Nashville conference and we had just booked Killer Mike, and I knew that he played Sound Money Fest in 22. I was down there in Miami, and so I just barged into the green room after the show and started grilling him about Bitcoin a little bit because I knew it was safe. Like I knew it was safe, and I wasn't gonna like piss off a key relationship trying to sell him some tech stuff. But I just asked him straight up. I was like, so like how much really are you? Like how much of a Bitcoiner are you really? And he's like, I'm about 10% Bitcoiner. And like I don't know if he was talking just about his stack or his commitment to it, but his agent is like, dude, there's no upside. There's no upside for me to come out and like advocate for the space. I can be a private champion of Bitcoin, and I can endorse all of the values and the ethos, and I don't have to run around putting my reputation at risk by banging the drum like we do. And that makes sense. I'm in a position of power at a very public institution in the music space, and I go by a pseudonym, right? Like I don't go running around trading on my resume. And it's because it's not humility as much as it's like it's just not worth it. and I think the bullishness that I see is I feel that momentum changing because I don't have to talk about sound money only. I don't have to talk about censorship resistant transactions. I can run in and talk about like, hey, wouldn't that be sweet if you only had to manage one social graph? And so like my go-to now is quick, rapid onboard to Primal, get their wallet activated, blitz onboard to Fountain. I zap them 5,000 sats in each spot, and then I pull up Adam Curry's podcast in fountain and I give them a boost from the artist's new NSEC, then we say, okay, go pull it up in Primal. And then they see it hit over there and they're like, they have that little moment of, whoa. And then you get that little quick engagement and you say, well, let's also think about the money side of it. Did you set up anything with your driver's license? Did you need to do anything with one of your normal banking institutions? Was Cash App involved? Was, who did you engage in order to get this privilege to send money to Adam Curry? And then they start thinking about it, and it gets me excited because I think that I think there's a baseline of musicians and artists who fundamentally know what's wrong, and I think it's become so trendy to just be like, F Spotify, F Live Nation. And I have kind of a call to action to throw back at them and just say, you know what? Like, that's awesome. Like, punk rock is pretty sweet, but like, what if you also had a solution to opt out and try something different and really put some teeth behind this? And I actually just last night, there was a couple things I scribbled down, but do you guys all have Wave Lake?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
For sure.
Theo Katzman just posted an album on Wave Lake a couple days ago, and I did a double take because I tried to book him in my Austin show next month because I knew he was a Bitcoiner. But I'm like, okay, you're a Bitcoiner. Killer Mike, you're a Bitcoiner. Shooter Jennings, you're a Bitcoiner. Like, can we get you off the bench and like, let's do this? And he was actually opening for Lake Street Dive in Boston the day before, so he couldn't make it to Austin. But he just uploaded an album to Wave Lake. I mean, this guy's in the band Wolfpack. They sell the hell out of our rooms. We book him, regularly, and that's pretty amazing. If he comes in and starts doing anything exclusive on Nostr or starts getting traction on Nostr, and he's on tour with Lake Street Dive. What if he starts talking about it in the green room on the tour bus? Lake Street Dive is selling 6,000 to 10,000 tickets a night. There's little anecdotes of what I think is significant movement going on in the culture of Bitcoin, and it really marries up nicely with Nostr, and I'm running with it. I found a Tunester in like the middle of 23, and it's a labor of love. I'm just trying to get people to the education phase. I'm not trying to make any money or do any fundraising, but it is really fun, and it's exciting to see. It's exciting to see Bitcoin and Nostr have a really strong narrative, whereas I felt like in the past it was a lot of the S coins running around my venues trying to sell NFTs and do stuff, and it's like, oh god, this is cringe. But I feel like there's something I'm really excited about going into the bull run that artists can see and is in line with everything that we are all here for.
Yeah, I think you've definitely hit on something, and funny enough, music was my first foray into Bitcoin. Was music related, because I was coming from a space before my Bitcoin journey where I was very much involved in the arts, and so like I was, I taught little kids how to breakdance for like a decade, but also I sang in an a cappella group for 15 years, and I'm coming from this space going, Bitcoin is taking up more and more of my brain space. I'm trying to figure out how in the hell am I going to even I need to be involved, but what do I even do? And so the very first thing that I thought was, okay, I know a lot of performers, a lot of musicians and stuff locally. So why don't I put on a little event, and the event is going to marry like getting together musical acts along with Bitcoin education. And so what we did is there's funny enough, the guy who owns Bitcoin Well, his company at the time, they had an ATM at a coffee shop downtown, and that coffee shop also hosted musical acts sometimes. So I was like, okay, well, we'll see if we can rent out that venue. I got together my a cappella group, a bunch of other acoustic artists. We all did a show there. And the way it worked is when you bought a ticket for the show, you would be able to receive X amount of Bitcoin when you arrived at the venue with your ticket. And so we had on site a bunch of people that could educate people. Okay, get this wallet. We're going to send you some Bitcoin. And then throughout the venue, we had pictures of the artists on the wall overlaid with QR codes for their Bitcoin wallets. And this, keep in mind, this was 2015, I think. And so the way it worked is you'd get like $10 worth of Bitcoin when you walk through the door. And then if you liked a particular artist, you would tip them just with their overlaid QR code on the picture of the band that you liked. And then there was a Bitcoin ATM there, and you could go and you could buy more Bitcoin if you wanted to. And then in between the acts, I would get up and like explain a little something about Bitcoin. And then in the middle of the thing, we had like a little workshop where you could go to a table and like learn some more stuff. That was the first Bitcoin related thing like that I had tried to piece together. And funny thing, this was a year before the channel started. You know, what we called the event was the Bitcoin sessions, based on kind of like the AOL.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, and then the channel became BTC Sessions about a year later. But that was kind of like the start of the education piece of it, and then the foray into the creation of the channel. But it was all coming from my roots in the arts and in music, was kind of the starting building blocks of what this became. So I love that you're coming at it from a musical standpoint, because I was trying to figure out what the hell how I could fit that in. And now a couple of the guys from the a cappella group, one of my good friends leaned into it hard, and he's doing quite well. And funny enough, the one who hated it the most initially is now the one who leaned into it hardest and has probably benefited the most from it. But yeah, like we got paid out and, a little bit of Bitcoin at the end of a couple of those gigs that we did. And some guys kept it and some guys didn't. And yeah, I mean, I think there's something unique to be said with the appeal of no middlemen, right? Of like get paid directly. And that was true then. And that's how I talked about it to the artists that would come. But it remains true to this day. Like, if you can directly monetize an audience where there's nobody standing in between, scraping away everything and giving you the crumbs at the end, then you don't need to be Taylor Swift to make money. You don't need to have that kind of following. You can just have your niche following that sees value in what you do, and maybe, tips $1 here and there. If you think about it, if you were to play, like, say, a digital show or live stream a show, and you have a dedicated audience, maybe you build up a fan base of a few thousand people, and each one of those people tips $1 or $2, that's a significant amount of money from putting on a show. If you can just think of cultivating a grateful audience of a handful of people that are willing to pitch a few bucks your way for a show. And I think a lot of people miss that, and they think, oh, I'm going to make nothing from Spotify. Well, fuck Spotify. Use a different mechanism, right? So, yeah. End rant.
Yeah, Jesse.
Oh man, I was just thinking about the creator economy and just bringing that to Bitcoin, and I think it will become clear just how punk rock and how powerful Bitcoin technology is for that creator economy. And a couple of things I've seen recently. I saw one OnlyFans creator, hate it or love it, cleared $43 million in a single year, from you know, kind of embracing that as a career. And also, you know, I've done a little bit of research on OnlyFans and their payment processing, and they paid 9% transaction fees for like to actually process all those transactions. And that's coming out of, you know, OnlyFans bottom line, that they're having to pay that much for all the payment processing. And I think once people start to realize that there doesn't need to be a middleman, and that you can actually you can be a part of the network that makes those payments happen. And outside of the adult industry, but just for artists and creators of all types, is that you can embrace the punk rock aspect of Bitcoin technology, where you don't need all those other folks taking their cut. And I think that's what's behind a lot of the vitriol with Spotify. There's just a few winners, and most of the creators are just picking up scraps. When you use Bitcoin, you get the whole enchilada. Is basically the end of the story.
I find it ironic that a platform that whose business model is to show people get railed is themselves getting railed by the payment rail.
I see your pun, and I'm here for it.
I mean, it's only sats. I'm just saying, only sats. It's got to happen. Yeah, Tselly, I'll toss you. That one.
Well, I mean, just look at all the different things that are getting built on Bitcoin now. That all the different alternatives and everything. One thing that you said at the beginning of why you were bullish is you feel like this cycle we don't have to focus so much on selling Bitcoin at this point. Like, we can actually show the results of what's been being accomplished. Like, we've been, what is this? This is 12 years, right? Or however many years, bad math. But like how long Bitcoin has been going, and where we're at right now is that inflection point where it's actually more like, for the people who are using Bitcoin and understand it, it's easier for us to keep using Bitcoin and have people accepting Bitcoin, and all of these different things are now getting built as an alternative. But really, just to think, I did like all the memes I did over the last 3 years or the last cycle. It was all like, it's a lot of it's fun, but a lot of it was trying to teach people Bitcoin, and to sell them on listening to more. And when I walked into a bar or whatever, it'd be like, oh, here we go. Like, all right, don't mention Bitcoin to Tselly. And now here we are. I'm coming out of Thanksgiving, and unless you just had a new baby, right? Everybody else was talking to me, right? So like they're asking about Bitcoin, they're learning about it, and now it's just like, hey, it's not even just. It's like, oh, how do you use Bitcoin? Like, are you using it to pay for this and this? And I was just like, I use it to pay for as much as I can, because I don't like the old system, and I think it's really showing that now we don't have to pay attention to the current thing. And the current thing, and everybody who used to follow it, is seeing that, hey, they're starting to see that change. So that's being, we've seen it, and we're just like, we're opted out. But like a lot of the other people who took a lot of time, like, now it's just, we don't have to sell them on talking to it, and we don't have to jam it down their throat this cycle. I think that's the inflection that I'm seeing. And we're going to see a lot more things and a lot more alternatives come from it.
Hell yeah. I love it. Yeah, I think there's Bitcoin's going to play into a lot more people's lives. than we think. And I mean, eventually it'll be everybody, but I think it'll play in different ways for different people sooner than we anticipate. There's been a lot of examples of why everyday people can benefit from Bitcoin, and there's pockets of people understanding that. But Bitcoin is a bit of a mirror, so each person is gonna see it in their own way. They just have to be shown that side of Bitcoin in order to understand it. And so, you know, you have the people that have it as a treasury reserve asset, but it can't possibly be money. Hard disagree. But you know, other people are going to see it as censorship resistance. Other people are going to see it as removing middlemen. Or other people are going to see it for all different types of reasons. And all of them are right, and all of them are also probably missing pieces of the puzzle because it doesn't pertain to them, and that's okay too. So, but with that, I do want to get to Tselly's topic as well. I'm glad we got down this artist and music rabbit hole, because again, like that hits home for me in terms of it's what started this whole thing for me, trying to find that pathway into the Bitcoin space, and here we are. So Mike, thank you for that topic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. and everybody, make sure you do check out of course Tunster, but Sats by Southwest, or SATS by SW.com, and you can check out everything that's going on there too. But we're going to do a rotation. Before we do, we're going to give one final shout out, and we'll be back with Tselly with his reason for being bullish in just a moment. Keeper is a fully open source Bitcoin app created to help you stack sats long term. Easily use your hardware devices or assisted keys to create multisig wallets and plan your inheritance. Head over to bitcoinkeeper.app to download the app and use code btcsessions30 to get a 30% discount on your first subscription. All right, we're back in. Tselly, tossing it to you. Same question. Why are you bullish?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to tell Jesse, it's the first time I saw you with your hair down, and I think you would have been a better Captain Sat Sparrow than me, just saying. But no, you know what I'm bullish on is the people. This last year, you know, I've joined a lot of different projects. I've had the opportunity to travel a lot throughout the world, meeting Bitcoiners everywhere. It's the people. At the end of the day, you know, and this is kind of ties into a lot of the things that we said. I kind of came with a backup just in case somebody kind of spilled onto one of the other ones I was saying. I mean, what you were saying earlier, Mike, was that was kind of one of mine. Is I think we're at an inflection point where, like I said at the beginning, we are. I think we're coming out of the fight phase, right? But the reason why we are is because of all the people behind it. How passionate and how hard everybody has been working. But not only that, anything that I ask or anything that I see, or and vice versa, everybody I work with, Bitcoiners are always finding a way to work together to make everything stronger, to help with adoption. And we're at the point now where we've been growing our community so big. We have a worldwide community, and we have access to everything, and we can pay on one network to anywhere in the world, and everything is coming from that. But without the people, we would not come this far. Without the dedication, I mean, we have gone through bull markets and bear markets. We've been beaten up. Anybody who's gotten through one cycle, you know, has been beaten up, let alone like the three, what we've had to go through. We're pretty much immune to a lot of stuff that a lot of these newer guys are going through. And it's kind of their hazing phase, I think, is your first cycle, right? But you know, I have a lot of different projects that I work on, and I tell Ben, Ben, I asked him for advice earlier. He's like, it's either a hell yes or a hell no. I was like, well, when it comes to Bitcoiners, man, everything's a hell yes. So like, what do I do? You know, and it's just being around everybody has really changed my thinking, right? Because I didn't come into Bitcoin as like, oh, I know everything is wrong, everything's messed up. No, I was doing mortgages. I was doing day trading, right? And I was staying up at night, like doing all my trades and losing sleep and just living like I was living in the fiat mindset. But you know, I had a lot of college loans, so I learned the hard way that college was our education system was down. And then I had some health I have some health issues that I realized that. So it's really the people that are going against the mainstream, that are bringing the other ideas, that are not trusting, verifying, and kind of like think about that. Like all of us together have been doing that, and without everybody else, like Bitcoin wouldn't be succeeding. It wouldn't be important because nobody wouldn't even know what's been going on behind the scenes, like the Wizard of Oz. You know, the curtain has fallen, right? Um, but what I'm bullish on is the people. My life has changed completely, and it's not because of Bitcoin. I'm happy I found Bitcoin. It definitely helps, but I work with Bitcoiners all day, all the time. I refuse to go back into the fiat mindset and that world is because I was living a double life in at work. You know, I couldn't be myself. I had to be scared about pleasing everybody else and their ideals and just basically being a sugar-coated, you know, sales agent. I'll say whatever you need to do, like just because I have to make my money. And Bitcoiners, I think at the end of the day, we all come in it to get rich, but we stay to get even, right? Like we came in here, you usually buy Bitcoin and then sell it because it went up, right? Buy it and then you start learning about it. You start, you know, you start seeing all the memes. Who's behind the memes? It's us. It's people who are making all these memes a lot of time for free, just for fun, just to like enjoy each other's company and learn from each other. So honestly, it's one of the things I've always said is it's again, Bitcoin is only a tool, but it's what we're building around it that makes it what it is.
I love it. I mean, there's so many good people. I mean, Jesse, you're building stuff. Like you're building stuff. It's the culmination of the efforts of the builders, the megaphones of the people that use those things and tell others about it. It's everything plays into itself, and then you know, iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens whatever the hell it is. Sharpens iron, whatever you know, whatever your metaphor is. Again, we're all making each other better, and iterating, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So I mean, I'll leave it to the builders here to comment on what Tselly just said.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I couldn't agree more. Like nothing controversial coming out of my mouth here. Like the Bitcoiners are awesome, and you know, I think it's, you know, not to go on too much of a tangent, but like everything that polarizes people in the world right now, I mean, Bitcoin kind of floats around that. Like you have human rights activists on the left and people really concerned about liberal values, and then you have the libertarian and the right. And I mean, it, because we all feel so strongly about this one commonality, all that other shit just gets set off to the side and we just build.
Mhm.
And that's pretty beautiful. Like that, find another community. I can think of one other community that has even similar to that. It'd be like people in recovery, like where you have something that's more important than all the daily noise. Um, it's the people here, right? Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I think one of the most like underemphasized aspects of Bitcoin is that it is a network, and part of that network is the social network, the people. And I've just been continually impressed by the the brilliant people that Bitcoin attracts and brings together. And you know, one thing about networks is like there's strength in weak ties. So we've got this kind of common thread that like has gotten to each of us, and and we've built a network around that. We fight with each other. We kind of that steel sharpens steel. So like we've got that piece that really hardens the network and hardens our resolve and our ability to do the don't trust verify that improves the security of the overall system. And it really is a magical thing because there's incredible builders building, from small businesses to enterprise, software, different solutions, bringing in high net worth individuals, reaching like onto CNBC on a daily basis now. It's really something, and we're just starting to tap this network and really see how far it will go. So thank you. It is the people.
Yeah, I'd again, there's so much to be excited about when you're around people that aren't down on the world. Like I again, the world's been through the ringer, I'd say, the past, well, quite some time, but especially the past 4 years haven't been particularly kind to a lot of people. And you can see it, like you can see it in people's demeanors. But funny enough, the Bitcoiners are pretty optimistic. It's almost as if they see a solution to everything that's been going on. So yeah, more of that straight into my veins, I think.
Are we in the Obama marketing of this phase where we're selling hope? No, but that's what it is. All these people, they're down in the dumps because they've lost hope, but also because they've been listening about everything that's wrong in the world, and they've been told that there's nothing to fix it other than more government. And so I think Bitcoin is hope, but it's more than just voting with your finger for a person. You're voting with your money. I look at it as a karma portion, right? Like the money you spend, you're pushing that energy. It is a transfer of energy. Well, it used to. Now it's a transfer of half our energy, and then they pull the other half out of their ass. But anyway, you know, uh, tangents and stuff, things.
Perfect. I mean, very eloquently said, Tselly. I echo the sentiment. There's a lot happening here, and I think the hard part is effectively communicating that to people that aren't already in it, and that can be. It's really it's an impossible task, and the only thing that can really make people realize what's going on is just to be present and partake. Like, I've been with my wife Lisa for a long time. We've been together, since before I started my Bitcoin journey. That's how I know she didn't marry me for my money.
Yeah. or your highlights.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly. She married me when I didn't have a highlight, but I was poor. I don't know if I was poor with a highlight that it would have really locked her down. So, but nonetheless, she stuck around. But main point being is that, she was always supportive of everything. Yeah, you do your thing, whatever, as long as there's food on the table and we're not like in the streets, then, well, you keep doing what you want to do. But it wasn't until she started coming to Bitcoin events that she was like, oh, these people are actually kind of awesome. And then now she like wants to go to things, and she's got like good friends in the space, and she's like part of like a Bitcoin moms like private chat and like all this stuff. and she's like, oh, these people are fun and sociable and like actually happy, and and so yeah, she has come to warm to the entire space because she's becoming a part of it. And that's a hard thing to tell people about. It's something they have to see and be a part of to understand. So, but with that, I think the time has come to begin rounding out. And there is something I like to do at the end of every show. And that's just to get more than anything. Yeah, sure. If you got a final thought or something to throw out there, but most importantly, if you guys have a recommendation for people watching, and this could come in really any form. It could be like, oh, here's a piece of advice I wish I had known when I started my Bitcoin journey, or here's an awesome website, or here's a cool app or device, or a book I read, or a film I saw, or something that you think could be either directly Bitcoin related or tangential to it that somebody watching the show may benefit from. So it's pretty much free reign. So what I'm going to suggest, and it's more of a I'm going to say it's a little bit more of a uh, uh, asking some people for some help here, but I've got an event coming up here in Calgary called the Sat Market. And so again, the idea is just trying to become super resilient so that it's Bitcoin is difficult to stop, and it already is, but I think it becomes infinitely more difficult when we actually use it as intended, and we start dealing with each other peer to peer. You creating relationships with people around you that create value for the community, and purchasing their goods with money that is actually worth something. And so we put together this idea for the Sat Market. This will be our third one. Fourth Sat Market. And so we started with the Bitcoin meetup, and we aggregated people, and we said, you already have skills, you already have things that you do, you're already good at stuff, you make things. You know that Bitcoin's better money. Why don't you cut out the middleman rather than earning your cuck bucks and converting them to sats for savings? Why don't you accept some Bitcoin and just save that? And everybody thought, well, that sounds like a pretty damn good idea. So we put together the Sat Market. I recognize that a lot of people aren't in Calgary or close enough to come. But all are welcome. That QR code on the screen will lead you to the page where we've got the event listed, and we're getting a website going and everything as well. But what you could do to help is, if you can, scan that and then just blast it out and share it everywhere. Let people know far and wide what we're doing, that they're welcome to come, but also to replicate it if you can. If you can go to if you can go to your local community and begin doing this yourself, we're going to try and make a little bit of a blueprint of how we did it here. And maybe people that are in large cities that are, Western cities where it's like, well, who are you going to get to accept Bitcoin kind of thing? Because the banking system is working for a lot of people, even though there's some that get pushed out of it. If you're in a Western country, it's a little bit harder of a sell, but I encourage people to build like this. And so the more we can get the word out, the better. So please give that a scan, share it on your socials, wherever you are. Let people know what we're building here in Calgary. Come out if you'd like to. The Sat Market is on December 15th, but we're going to go up to the Rocky Mountains in Banff on Friday, the 13th. We're going to have a night in the mountains. We're going to have dinner there. We're going to have brunch in the morning. We're going on an ice hike through a place called Johnston Canyon on the Saturday. Then we're coming back to Calgary for the YYC local Bitcoin meetup Christmas party that night. And then we're doing the market on the Sunday. So we've got like a full schedule of stuff, and we're going to try and do this twice a year. So one in the winter to get the Christmas magic going, and then one in the summer tangential to the Bitcoin rodeo that we post. So come on out. But enough of my ranting. Jesse, I'm going to toss it to you. If you have any final thoughts, feel free. But what would you like to recommend to people as well? And I see you got a thing, so I'll get this up for you in a sec.
Awesome. We've been talking about kind of the evangelist phase of being in Bitcoin, and one thing that we ran into at Amboss was like getting evangelist tools. So if you do want to pass on the message or pay someone in Bitcoin, we've been working on a wallet that is fully open source, and it is a web-based, so no app download. But it's called Banco Libre, and so we're as we learn more about the number of unbanked people in Latin America, we're thinking we needed a wallet that is one, Lightning compatible, and two, self custody. So it doesn't mean that you have to run a Lightning node, but you can just sign up with an email and create a password, and you're all set up. You've got your own Lightning address that works immediately. So that I think we're in the closed beta portion of things, but things are ramping up and it's very much complete. So I would welcome people to try it out and give us feedback. But overall, I've been onboarding Uber drivers to this because I don't have to tell them to download an app, and nobody wants another app. But even if your phone dies, you can even go to any computer and still access your money. And the security model is the same thing as Bitwarden. We just basically duplicated that and made it work for seed phrases. So if you want to get started and start receiving Lightning, or be able to pay your friends that aren't Bitcoiners yet in Bitcoin over the Lightning Network, you can now do that.
Hell yeah. BancoLibre.com. BANCOLIBRE.com. That's cool. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for that. I want to toss it to Mike next. Same thing. Any major recommendations, something people should check out for you?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one is Sats by Southwest in Austin. If you can't make it up to Calgary, come down December 15th and 16th. Super excited partnering with the Podfather. He's going to be there in person doing MC duties for the concert and introducing all the artists. And it's the first of a kind, so we're pretty stoked about it. But recommendations overall. I'm like 98% Nostr, so like I just signed up for an X account to promote our event in Nashville. When we did a side event with Wave Lake at the Vinyl Lounge, so it's much easier to find me and engage with me on Nostr. I'm at Open Mic and at Toonster on Nostr.
Nice.
But recommendations, I'd say the most important thing I see, it's almost more of a call to action. Get Fountain, and we talk a lot about opting out. We talk a lot about finding the better tools and using them. You know, I had to train. You got pretty embedded muscle memory, right down to like your, you know, like when I go for runs, my Apple Watch is just ingrained to like use Apple Podcasts. It's easier, right? It's just everything is that's the hook. V for V, if we want this to grow and thrive, we gotta deliberately use it. The people who understand it and know why we're here and what's important about it. It's a choice, and it's not always the easiest, most convenient one. And I'm shocked when I go speak at conferences and talk to people, and some of the devs like, yeah, well, it's just kind of clunky. I just use my normal one. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Like, they need support. We need to use Wavelake. We need to use Fountain. And I'm a degen zapper, so it really does matter. It really does move the needle. And I tell you what, if we're not using these tools, we can't expect anybody else to. And we're just going to be in our little echo chamber talking about these revolutionary ideas that never get off the ground.
Yes. Go get Fountain. Go support creators. I think that's a fantastic call to action. And of course, Sats by Southwest. Make sure you go check it out. If you end up down there instead of in Calgary, you will be far warmer. But if you're a sucker for masochism, then come get cold up here. Awesome. Tselly, I'm tossing it to you. Final word. What do you got?
Well, I usually always make sure, I touch on local circular economies, but Ben, me and you both feel the same way, so you already knocked into that. So I guess I'll go ahead and recommend, I'll show one of my things. So on for nohue.com, we're in beta right now. We're doing the official launch here on Cyber Monday. So check out the site, see all the different products and everything that we have from plebs and different services. But I would highly recommend reaching out if you're a pleb who has a startup company. You're doing something you're very passionate about, and you need support as far as on the back end as running your business. From if you want that support from a whole group of Bitcoiners that have been doing this and kind of mastering it, as far as marketing to Bitcoiners, it's way differently than marketing to the hive mind. There's no sugar coated anything that you can put on it. There's no sprinkling. You have to gain the respect of the people you're marketing to. You have to expect that they're going to question everything that you throw at them in terms of sales. So if you need help navigating this new space as we build everything together, check out nohue.com. And then just also recommendations.
Side note, is
it,
No Hue up? I went to it, but I'm getting a white page. And maybe it's just my browser.
So it's in beta. So the official launch is Cyber Monday. So this Monday, everything will be live. Right now, I have my developer in the background. It's probably all dead because he's changing everything around. So that's why it's Monday. Everybody, just open it then. It'll be beautiful. But also in general, just to kind of be quick, just on a more personal thing. If you're looking to get a job in Bitcoin, don't stop trying. I tried, like I left mortgages and I tried for 3 years, and I tried to find exactly where I would fit in, from what I liked doing, what I was good at, and kind of finding that. But go to meetups, go to conferences, shake hands with these people, have a jolly good night, and like get to know them, and see. You'll never know who you talk to as far as networking, and where they'll see the potential in you, what you're able to do, and actually get you to the other side to actually start working in Bitcoin, doing what you're passionate about, and kind of moving this whole momentum forward for the whole movement. Um, just like we always say with the memes, like anybody asks me like, "Oh, do you have any meme advice?" I was like, "Just post it." You never know it's the one that you were sitting on the can hungover that might be the one that flourishes. But I don't know how that relates to the previous thought, but dude, just keep trying. Just keep trying, because you never know which job you apply for that the skies align, and you know just
Yeah, man.
we want everybody to work in Bitcoin. This is a family at this point.
The brain drain is real, and it's pulling in the talented people into Bitcoin, which is great to see. Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and getting bullish with me on a Friday night. We successfully navigated both my sickness and my crappy internet and made it through the show seemingly without a hitch. Tselly was temporarily fired, but he's hired back on, so it's a happy ending. And and here we are. So we made it, and thank you guys. So yeah, have a fantastic weekend, you guys. Happy belated Thanksgiving, and happy Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that fun stuff. Yeah, you guys have a great weekend. And of course, you're welcome back anytime. And Sally, sorry I fired you. You're welcome back into the company.
It won't be the first or last time. It's fine. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. And everybody that tuned in, thank you guys for being here as well. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you're shopping for your Bitcoin Black Friday goodies. Again, I mentioned it off the top of the show, I think, but bitcoinblackfriday.com. If you're looking for goodies and to spend some sass, you can check them out, of course. But make sure you follow all these guys. They're in the show notes down below, and they're all awesome and building really cool things. Also, another, again, hot off the press is that the CoinKite's got their 20% off for Bitcoin Black Friday. So go stack some cold card queues while you're at it, or some tap signers. There's some good deals there. For sure, for sure. What else do I got for you before we check out here? Again, hope you enjoyed the show. Like, sub, share, all that good stuff. Previously mentioned sponsors are on the show notes down below. And of course, if you're looking to become an affiliate of Bitcoin Mentor, you can hit up our website here. There's a QR code on the screen that'll take you directly to a place where you can sign up to get your own link. And then you can share that anywhere over this coming crazy bull run. And you can have a place to send friends and family. Again, of course, tons of free content on the channel where people can check out and do tutorials. But if somebody needs that one-on-one help, awesome educators over at Bitcoin Mentor. And on top of that, every time you send them with your link, you're going to make 21 bucks on every single session that they book, and you get paid in sats. So it's a beautiful thing. Anyways, guys, I guess I will wrap it there. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day or evening, wherever you may be. And we'll see you guys next week for your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.